we're back. Let's get into the top gaming news of last week. Let's start with our lead story. We finally know what Project Spartacus from Sony is. It's been revealed. Sort of revealed. And before we get into it, just want to say, you know how much I hate, where news comes out from conference calls with the stock, shareholders, and stockholders, and stuff like that.
You say that, but that's where some of the juiciest news stories come from. Well, otherwise we get it all at E3. Otherwise, we get it all at E3.
Where we should, which we're not going to get anything from E3. Which
we'll get into that. Yeah.
But we don't get anything, and this is a prime example of what we're not getting. Okay, so just for context, this was Sony did put out a sort of like a press release on PlayStation blog talking about the new subscription service and all of that. They were a little vague on certain areas because they did this for the shareholders, and they knew if they actually just did it with the shareholders and they put out a press release, it would leak. So they probably just said, screw it, let's just put it out.
Yeah, you want to get ahead of the story, right? Yeah, you want to do it on your terms. It looks better
because it's the end of the quarter, and they want to tell the shareholders we have another stream of revenue coming, right? Mm-hmm. So, all right, but let's get into it. PlayStation Now will be no more coming this June, right? And it will all be PlayStation Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's not necessarily rebranding with the new name. They're just consolidating and making everything PlayStation Plus.
Right.
And they will have 3 tiers. They have the PlayStation Plus Essential, which is the same as the PlayStation.
It's the current offering of PlayStation Plus,
right now. Yeah, you get 2 monthly download games, exclusive discounts, cloud storage, and online multiplayer. And there are no changes to the existing PlayStation Plus member tier.
Right.
It's about $10 a month, $25 a quarter, and $60 a year.
Yep.
Then we go to PlayStation Extra, which you get the same benefits as Essential, but they also will provide you with 400 PS4 and PS5 games, including blockbuster hits from PlayStation Studios in the back catalog, which is kind of insane that they're giving you 400 games, right?
It's a lot.
Yeah. And by the way, all prices that I'm talking about are all U.S. prices. I'm not going to get into the different prices in different regions. It's $15 a month, $40 a quarter, and $100 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get into this is the big one. This is where all the rumors were correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the rumors were correct for the most part on all the tiers. Pricing was a little off.
Right.
PlayStation Plus Premium, right? You get all the benefits from the other 2 Essentials and Extra, but they do add a catalog of PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PSP, and you can stream PS3 games. But everything will be. But there is a PC option where you can play on your PC. You can stream the games on your PC as well.
Yeah. There's a couple of PC ports that came over, but for the most part, it's going to be streaming for all that older stuff.
And it will be $18 a month, $50 a quarter, and $120 a year.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are your thoughts?
Well,
mind you, nothing here is groundbreaking. All the rumors that we've heard for the last year are essentially true, with the exception of the pricing a little bit off and the PC offering.
Was it higher or lower, the price estimates?
It was off by $2. Off by a couple.
Well, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, and the PC offering, I think, caught people by surprise, where they will allow you to stream games on the PC.
Right. So I want to compare PlayStation to Xbox to Nintendo, right? Because there's 3 different offerings out there, right? And we own all 3 systems for sure. I think you still have Games Pass, right?
I have it until June, I think, and then I have to make a decision if I want to pay for it.
Okay, So you still have Games Pass. You have Nintendo Online with the expansion and all that. So we have all the same stuff, right? I may get the PlayStation service. It's great, but comparatively, it's not as good as the Xbox service. For the reason of you won't get first-party games day and date with the physical release. Or the digital release, I should say. So, if you want to play, let's say, the God of War Ragnarok, that'll be on the system or the service eventually, maybe 6 months or a year out. But you won't get it like day one, which it is a big thing. And it's fair to note that Microsoft is taking, or Xbox is taking a bit of a hit having the game available on Games Pass. Because it could be a $60 purchase, or it could be a $15 purchase, and then they just cancel the service after that, or whatever it is. Or they could try it out. They could try the service out for free and play the latest games, play Forza 5, play Halo. Well, Halo's free, but the multiplayer's free, but play whatever the first party game is, and then just go, I don't want to play this service anymore. And they've technically lost out on some money, so it's not without its negatives for the company, but it is a big boon to the user. So comparatively, I would say the Xbox kind of wins out in that respect. I think that's the one big thing that Xbox has over the PlayStation service.
And Nintendo. And Nintendo service.
Oh, and also Nintendo too, yeah, because the Nintendo stuff, you don't get any current games. All the current games you have to buy digitally or physically. With the expansion pack, you get N64 and Genesis games. With the regular Switch Online, you get multiplayer capabilities for some games, and you get Nintendo and Super Nintendo games, which is cool, and it's also why it's the cheapest of the bunch. It starts at $20 and then works its way up. Nintendo Online also does have the family plan, which is awesome. PlayStation is going to have like group or family plans, I believe. Or actually, no. PlayStation isn't slated to have the family plan?
No.
Okay. And currently, Xbox doesn't have a family plan right now, so it's just, you just pay whatever it is, and that's that. So it is nice that there is a bundle, like a year price or a quarterly price, because that will save you some money, right? It's $15 for Games Pass Ultimate. Is that right? And yes. Games Pass Ultimate is Xbox and PC. You can play on whatever platform, and you can play the hundreds of games that they have in their library, which goes back to the OG Xbox, which is cool. There are some classic games, classic for Xbox, I guess, which is good. There's a lot of 360 games, and there's a lot of Xbox games, and any first-party game now day one, which, when you think about it, we got Starfield, which is upcoming. Whatever the next Call of Duty is, any of the new Bethesda offerings will all be day and date free to play with Games Pass day one.
Well, just rewind. It's when the actual purchase of Activision goes through.
Well, okay, sure.
Potentially, it will be. Yeah. It's not the next Call of Duty will not be on Games Pass that we know of. There's been no announcement of that's coming out.
Well, I think the deal is going to be inked before next November, right?
No, the deal is not going to go up until next summer.
Yeah,
the deal's not going to be finalized until next summer.
Okay, so maybe we won't get Call of Duty this year, but we'll get it next year. We'll get it in 2023, which is fine. I mean, it's I'm looking into the future. It's like it's only going to get better from here. So I mean, I'll say that like out of the three, Xbox is still king of the hill. Although it does cost a little bit more, so I guess that's also fair to say, right? It's $15 a month, and there is no bulk year price.
I look at it this way. I look at it that all this, whenever someone's not in the lead, they have to do something bold that is pro-consumer to get that sort of market share back, right? Like Sony, obviously, they sort of won the sales race with the PS3, but everybody knows acknowledges that Xbox there's no there were more PS3 sold, but Xbox the 360 won that generation.
And of course it won that generation. Just because they made it out at the end, they squeaked it out at the end. I mean,
well, that doesn't matter. Numbers
it out
they
at the
sold
end.
more PS3s, but they didn't win that generation. That
no, of course, not at all.
They're acknowledging that, and they did pro-consumer things for the PS4, right? Where they didn't, you could still share your games. They didn't lock that behind.
Well,
always having to be online.
Yeah.
Obviously, Xbox run. They're famous. This is how we share our games.
Oh yeah, here's a game. Yeah. Well, you're right. I mean, to go back.
Yeah, the price was cheaper. Everything. They focused a lot on the indie game scene. Right? They did a lot.
Yeah,
of things
they did a ton of right things during that generation.
Yeah,
during the last generation.
They did a lot of things that normally didn't do to gain that market share back. And Microsoft did the same thing with backwards compatibility and with their service.
Oh yeah, no, you gotta call out
games.
You gotta call out
new games there in the service first.
You gotta call out the pro consumer moves. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah. So I look at it that way, right? When you're not in the lead, you're gonna do things to get the mind share back. To get all the consumers back, to get that goodwill back.
I mean, I agree.
And that makes sense.
I agree.
Unless you're Nintendo. Well,
Nintendo's going to do Nintendo, yeah. I agree. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at what's the best value for me, not what's in the company's best interest. I want to see what's in the best interest.
Well, I don't care about that. I'm just saying. I love it where Microsoft is doing all this goodwill stuff because they had to, and I acknowledge that it is because they have new games, right? I would put that slightly over this, even though it is a little bit more expensive. But the key thing is, I know we're going to get over 700 games on this new subscription tier, the premium subscription tier, right? The question is, what are those games? And that's where this.
Oh, well, I can tell you exactly what those games are going to be.
This was put out before. This was put out really for the shareholders, and not like a big reveal because we will get a state of play at some point, maybe in May. Right. Because if the service is going to launch in June, the tier service, we should get something that's going to tell us all 700 games. We do know this though. We do know Death Stranding, God of War 2018. Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, Mortal Kombat 11, and Returnal, which that's a new-ish type of game, right? Like maybe they wait a year and put new games on the service. They will be part of those the extra and premium tiers.
Yeah, I mean you can throw The Last of Us 2 in there because those are first-party games and they're old enough that they're gonna be on the platform, guaranteed. Eventually, you're going to get Gran Turismo. That probably not going to be till 2023, but it'll eventually come there, right?
I doubt that because Gran Turismo is like a live service game, and all the controversy with what we discussed earlier in the show about it, right? And
I mean, they have other revenues to make money, but
I think they may put this on the service. I honestly
this year.
Yeah, it'll be.
If they launch it in September, I don't think it's going to be there till 2023. I think even if they launch it over the summer, it's still going to be till 2023. I don't think they're going to do that because otherwise, then they would just put it on. They would just say Gran Turismo 7 is going to be a part of this.
Wait, I'm confused. What are you talking about?
Well, whenever they end up launching it, right? They're not launching it now.
It's coming in June. I just said it's coming in June.
Oh, in June. Well,
it said it's June.
3 months out.
June.
Yeah,
they have to have a state of play in May.
Yeah, they're not gonna
launch it in June.
No, they're not gonna have it this year because that's 3 months. It's 3 months from when the game launched. Right, it launched a couple weeks ago or whatever. Right, three and a half months.
Early March.
Right. So it's definitely not going to be there at launch, and I don't think it's going to be there during the holiday season, because that's a whole bunch of holiday sales they're gonna miss out on that game. They would wait till Q1 2023.
I say it's not going to be. I'm not going to wait a year. They do it this year.
Well, it's technically it would be less than a year, but you would get all the holiday sales for the game, and then you would get the goodwill of like, well, we're going to also now put it for free on their PlayStation Plus service. I can almost guarantee.
I say no.
But then you look
disagree.
at
I disagree.
maybe.
I think for goodwill, they would, if not at launch this
Well,
year.
why not?
they
Why not
definitely
just
put
why
out
not
this
just
year.
have it at launch then? Why even bother waiting, right? But that's not. I mean, they're saying, the game already launched, so it's technically not day and date with the game and all that. But we know the new games aren't going to come out right away on the system. And the reason they're doing that is because they want to make the sales up, right? They want to get the $60 and the whatever else from everybody, which I get from a business move. You would make more money that way, and then eventually put it on the service when the game is a little bit older. You're going to lose out on all the holiday sales, right? Because
Yeah, but I think
kids can't buy
this
the
is
game now.
I think this is more of a live service thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think they look at it more as more of a live service game than anything.
I
I
mean,
think it could be. I
there's
think
that
it would be a
too.
It would be a goodwill gesture to, especially if they're going to put out a bunch of updates this month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the next coming months, and to fix the game for people online.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe put it on the service. I would. Put
All
it on
right,
the
so
service.
so let me ask this: if it was already out, right? It was say it came out in January.
Mm-hmm.
Would you think they would put Gran Turismo on there day one?
No,
Okay, so what's the difference?
I think
What's the difference?
controversy.
Well,
the
wouldn't they
controversy-
want
I
the
think- I
goodwill
think-
in that case to be like, hey, it's coming to Games Pass, Hey, or PlayStation Plus or whatever
Plus,
it is.
PlayStation
It's coming
Plus.
to PlayStation.
Well, no, if it was out if PlayStation Plus was out in January, the new
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation Tier Plus was out in January. I don't think they saw the controversy coming. Right?
Yeah.
They put it out. They got a lot of bad press for
They got a hell of a ton of bad
tactics,
press.
right? And now they're trying to fix it. I think one of the ways they can fix it is put it out on the put it out on a new PlayStation Plus service in June whenever they launch.
It's a possibility. It's a possibility. I wouldn't necessarily rule it out, but I don't think
It could be the grounding. It could be like the crown jewel of like the big announcement. Like, and we're putting Gran Turismo
the
7.
700 games should be the announcement. That's the exciting part, right? That should be enough.
Well, you know what?
All the games that are great, all the games that made people say, "Hey, I'm going to buy a PS3," or said, "Hey, I'm going to buy a PS4." You can play for free. All the Spider-Mans, the God of Wars, The Last of Us. Like, there's some solid stuff. Gran Turismo 5, Sport, Gran Turismo 6.
Probably would say
they will have those on there.
They would say all the Gran Turismo games
Except
ever
for 7.
made are going to be
Except
on
for
here.
7.
And 7.
Except
and
for 7.
I
No.
disagree. I think they put 7 on here
Well,
with all the fixes. So
maybe. But okay. So looking at these three, my opinion. I think the Xbox service is still the best because of the day one stuff. Out of the three, what looks like the best offering? Like, factoring in price and games and feature set and everything else.
I guess it depends who you are. I mean, if you are more of nostalgic Nintendo fan, like a friend of mine, Brian loves like the old NES, SNES. He loves fighting games, but he loves like the old school games, right? And he would, like the Nintendo Online service would speak to him if you're more of like an old head and you're super nostalgic for that stuff. If you sort of are a gamer or a PC gamer, especially on a budget, and you're not a collector, right? And you love to keep up with the new stuff. Games Pass definitely is more attractive, right? If you like to play modern games and you love retro games, and a lot of games, I can almost guarantee. You want to talk about something you can almost guarantee? I can almost guarantee a lot of games that are PS1 and PSP that are expensive that you can't find are probably going to be on this service, right?
Oh, I guarantee you. All like the Squaresoft RPGs and all that, like I can almost guarantee they're going to be on there. Like they have to. They have to. When you say PS1 and PS2 and you don't have Squaresoft games on there, that's a major L. And there's no reason for me to think why Squaresoft and Sony wouldn't be able to broker a deal, because they're pretty good in terms of their relationship. That would be a big draw for me.
the premium tier is really attractive for me because of the show, right? Like we play a lot of old school games for Saturday Morning Retro. And yes, I may own a lot of these games, but it is sometimes a pain in the ass to set it all up, right? To
The
take
convenience
out the
is
NES
nice.
to take out the PS1 and play the PS1, even though I could just play PS1 games on the PS2. But I still got to pull that out, and I'm getting that same resolution, right? Because I don't have a modded PS2 or a modded PS1. Will we get a resolution bump in these games? Right, that's another question that's not asked. That they
yeah, that's a possibility. Now to note, PS1, 2, 3, and PSP are all emulation streaming, correct?
Not streaming. You can download everything except for PS3.
Okay.
PS3 is strictly streaming only. PC games are all streaming.
Right. Well, they have to be. Yeah. Because they don't have a PC emulator out for any of that stuff. Although there is a PS3 emulator that's homebrew. That's like on the PC. That's actually amazingly good. They've made like super strides in there. So it's sad that the PS3 stuff is streaming. I was listening to Modern Vintage Gamer talk about it, and they could totally get an emulator on the PS5 for PS3 games. They could. They should. I think they should invest in that. Even if they just hire the person or license out the emulator that they have that's really good on like PC and like put that in, that would be awesome. Because
I think this is what's going to happen. Okay, I think maybe you're right as far as PSVR 2. Right, I think they showed it at GDC. People have used it and said it was fantastic. They've already shown us what it looks like. Right, we haven't got a price yet or any game, so that tells me we could see it at some point later this year or early next year. Right. I think when we get a state of play, they may have PSVR and the new PlayStation Plus tiers, because they will have a VR component to this. Where
how could you not?
Games.
How could you not?
We're gonna have VR games because they want to push you to use the headset, right? Like now, I think I said it when they canceled the giving free games for PS3, right? I said they should substitute that with PSVR games to make me put on this headset. Keep giving me free games, and that would make me put on a headset every month. And I think they may do that. They may add PSVR games. That may be part of the 700 games that we get to play.
I mean, there's enough of them now, and they're old enough to where they could easily put Tetris Effect and Moss and all the other like Wipeout Omega Collection and whatever else. Like you put some bangers on there, put freaking Beat Saber on there, right? Well,
the streaming, the video game subscription wars have now officially begun, right?
Yeah.
And just point of reference, we didn't really talk about this the last couple of weeks. Sony, there are lots of reports that Sony is not done purchasing big studios, and they have one big studio purchase that's really on the horizon that no one can talk about. Apparently, Greg Miller said there were 3 things that are coming. He can't talk about it, and one of the things that came out was PSVR 2, and he said, "Yeah, that's one of the 3 things." So
there you go. There you go.
So they may be. I don't know if it's Capcom. I mean, they said it was big. So Capcom, Sega. I'm thinking Capcom, Sega. I'm thinking more of a Squaresoft, a Japanese company that they would purchase.
Oh, sorry. There's a little something in my throat right there. Telling you, man, they gotta make a shot across the bow. They get Assassin's Creed.
So they can add those games to their service, right? So, I look, man, it's an exciting time. It's just too bad because collecting, right? Physical media.
Oh well, yeah. We don't have to say it, but we have to say it. It's the all digital future. Yeah, but it
kind of sucks
for the general consumer. It's the best thing because there's no physical clutter. Right? You get kind of a smorgasbord Netflix style of game, so there's some good stuff about it.